Eminence Cardinal Ranjith, Archbishop of Colombo, Sri Lanka's Roman Catholic Church, he also further mentions that the former Attorney General has said that about the Easter Carnage, that publicly, he had issued a public statement rather after retirement only, that there's a big conspiracy between the about these conspiracy theories are always there. Conspiracy theories are part of human life. Anyone, it's like a gossip. When it comes to personal life, the gossiping, useless women gossip about others, right? And similarly, on the state affairs or national affairs, there are conspiracy theories coming. So it's like a gossip, conspiracies, theories. That's the difference. Now, when it comes to individual matters, people who are useless, who can't do anything, they gossip, right? Then when it comes to organizations, we have the grapevine. They're similar to gossip for organizational context. You have the grapevine where all these unnecessary things, people who are unskillful, who are not working hard and not educated professional, they pass unnecessary wrongful information to damage others on the grapevine. Similarly, when it comes to countries, in Sri Lanka also, when it comes to national politics, people who are useless, who are uneducated, who can't do anything, pass this useless wrong information. Those are called conspiracy networks, theories rather. When it comes to international politics also, countries sometimes spread such misleading information to damage other countries who can't do anything, who believe thing and do, who are not principle based things, countries, like similar to United States, UK, EU, all Christian countries, because United States assassination of the John F. Kennedy, right, one of the most loved presidents of US, now his reincarnation these days in Sri Lanka, right, and subsequently the US lost the space program, and no single person went to moon, after John F. Kennedy's, who founded the program, they assassinated. And the US lost the economy, the health economy, all spheres. US came down, and after this President John F. Kennedy's reincarnation version in Sri Lanka, right, what happened? China came up, Asia came up, and China also proceeded to Mars with their own rover. US still struggles, things like that. So that is why, when gossips, international conspiracy theories are spread by the countries like Christian countries like US, UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa countries, and also the so-called Indo-Pacific and on the process to the Christianity conversion countries like China, Indo-Pacific, Japan, South Korea, which they think they can move towards a Christian Christianity, blind faith, and then thrive on that, making money out of it, and sex-related industries, right? Well, those international conspiracies only damage, as in Keynesian economics, those who spread them, not those towards whom they are targeted. That's called a negative externality in economics, similar to a person with lambda variant or delta variant, because now this COVID-19 was attributed to China, right? And now no one talks about COVID-19 because it refers to China. Now everyone talks about Delta variant coming from India, Lambda variant, etc., Beta variant, etc. So, what happens is, those who, similar to a person with any of these variants even, in the Greek alphabet, right, going and opening up the mask in front of this is my foe. I open the mask and put him the COVID, Delta variant in that case, right? Okay, or Beta variant, Lambda variant, or Theta variant, or Sigma variant, or all the Greek letter variants in future. So in that case, that person spread the COVID, these variants now to the other person. It's called like one person put a cost on the other person. A negative externality is that it's called external cost in economics, right? That external cost, similar to that is someone put a cost on another, because that person would have to go to, because once he gets the Delta variant, he or she had to go to hospital and get treatment, and then he has to spend money. It's a cost put by this person on that person, right? So it's called external cost. Now, in economics and the finances, the costs are different, cost structure. In economics, costs are personal cost, external cost, social cost. Whereas in finances, the cost structure is different. Those are, material cost, labor cost, direct cost, and also direct cost, right? And also there are indirect material cost, indirect labor cost, and indirect cost in finances. So in economic, as we know, in economic cost, like if you take, the private cost, if somebody wants to have a party, okay, in that case, Chandimal or Pumi Hansamali, they had a party at, join a party at Shangri-La. So then those who organized the party borne the cost, no? Whoever organized the party, they have to spend the cost here, no? So that's called a private cost. If you have a party at your home, you have to spend the food, drinks, soft drinks, or and also the car park you have to protect through security, and water, electricity, and all things that accommodate. And even people who get late to go home without vehicles, you have to drop them at home. Those are the costs borne by the person who organized the party. Similar to Chandimal and Pumi Hansimali's party at Shangri-La. So that's called a private cost. But external cost is one cost one imposed on another person. Similar to what I said, like Delta variant person exposing the mask and putting a Delta variant to the other, then he or she has to go to hospital and suffer a bill. That's called external cost in economics, in Keynesian economics, and subsequently. And social cost is now typically what His Eminence Cardinal Ranjith is doing these days, because it's like, imposing a cost on the whole society just by one person, right? That's social cost. Now, say for example, if there's a river, and near the river, if there's a factory, due to the chemicals, disposed by the factory waste, liquid waste, it goes to the river stream, and it moves through the downstream to the areas where people have, they wash their clothes and do things on the river because they like the nature, right? Not because they don't have pipe-borne water. In Sri Lanka, sometimes people do this because they like the nature. They like the beach and the river. That's a normal situation. So then it's a natural situation. So here, people who on the stream, everybody get the this polluted water, and they have wash and clothes and everything they do, swim, and they get sick, and then everyone gets sick, and then the government investigate, and then government law enforcement investigate this, and they find the factory did this, and then they impose a tax on the factory, saying, or a fine, say, okay, you did this, please pay this fine because we have to clean the river now. Okay, rupees 50 million fine on this factory. Then the factory pays it, and if suppose they are making something essential to everybody in the society, like Apico, making like a cooking device, like a cooking utensil, then what will happen is, due to this 50 million government fine on Apico, their cost of production goes up. As a result, their indirect costs go up, right? As in finances. As a result, their overall production costs go up, and they increase the price now because they are in modern finance, free market, mixed economy. They are depending on profits. Then what happened? Everyone in the society has to now pay high price to buy this cooking utensil needed for the kitchen. Then what happens? Everybody now incur additional costs just because one factory did this, right? That's called a social cost. Social cost is a cost imposed by one person or one organization or one country on the whole society, whole country, or the whole world. For example, His Eminence Ranjith Cardinal's utter waste of time about this Easter Carnage discussions on the press, takes time, and people productivity, they take their time off to discuss these things, right? Explain this and waste time reading this information. Then what happens is, they don't have more productive time to make some income. Then what happens? Everyone in the society do this, and they deprive their income because of this. So when you lose income, it's similar to a cost on you, because your standard of living go down because your income is less now, right? And it's a cost on the economy. Then this is like a social cost. But His Eminence Cardinal Ranjith's utterances on the media is utter waste, because it's a social cost on the whole Sri Lankan society, right? Not only that, now if you take like individually, like what America did, passing gossips, everything, international gossiping, using YouTube, Facebook gossip, Twitter gossip, Instagram gossip, even YouTube gossip. Sometimes these gossip people just read and waste. Then they, it's like imposing a cost. They, while reading the gossip, they had to spend electricity, water. You have to spend electricity. You have to use your data. So you are incurring a cost, right? So it's like a cost imposed by US on the whole world then, right? Then what happens? It's like a international, what I should say, it's now private cost, external cost, social cost in the world today up to now. But this is a new cost in economics, which is called a global cost, right? Like as done by US today to this useless social media platforms used in a wrongful way. But there are good ways you can use social media platforms also. That's why I said everything, there's a good side and a bad side. So accordingly we must proceed. So then those who want the good side can move, those who want the bad side accordingly can move. It's up to them, right? So now, but we can always guide them and teach them, don't do this way, do this way, like that. So now here it's a social cost by US on the whole world then, right? Then what happens? Because of these, ultimately it is a big cost to the US also. There are nuclear power stations, all energy, the energy and everything is wasted on YouTube and the Facebook and the servers, computer servers and the Twitter servers, Instagram servers. So it's like everything that in the US economy, the prices would go up because this is a high cost on them. They are US companies, right? Because of the energy use when the servers work to, to allow the global population to access US computer servers and access these services. There's energy, computer servers were based on energy. There's a high energy cost to US energy department. As a result, the US costs go up. And then what happens is, similar to in that case, the company costs go up, US increases its the prices, its global products. Now globalization is no more, thankfully, to the pandemic, but the US cut off the supply from the Federal Reserve System or the Federal Reserve Bank. It may cut the US lending, dollar-based lending, US dollar policy of the US economic policy. In addition to the, their US dollar policy is called the monetary policy, US dollar policy, US domestic global good dollar policy, US global dollar policy. For each region differently they have. US dollar policy for each country is different. Sri Lanka, we can see it's different these days, right? India is different. So now, even though US fiscal policy, US supply side policy, US demand side policy, US cyber, the digital economic policy, which I proposed to them to help them out of this mess. Now, accordingly, what will happen is they will have the US dollar policy towards the whole world as a whole, and Sri Lanka also specifically these days to create Tamil Nilam in Northeast. They will cut short the lending and the interest rates may fluctuate and the supply of dollar printing will also drop. As a result, the demand for US dollar go up. Since the US currency is the global currency, US dollar will appreciate and all other currencies will depreciate. Everyone will have to pay more of their currencies to buy the US dollar, and then they have to work like slaves of Indo-Pacific region and then end up sending all the money to buy the US dollar. Okay, and the profits go to US, to the financial system, and these countries end up poor and US becomes rich and rich. This is called the brain, mind and cognition process development, the people in the US. You can't blame anyone else. All Sri Lankan politicians, everyone else around the world must take the blame for not developing their brain, mind and the cognition process, and we must praise US people, at least their leaders, for having developed the brain, mind and cognition process. You cannot blame US because their brain power, their mind power, cognition power is high. So we must at least now not, follow a development path to the brain, mind and the cognition process.